What's going on, guys? JSGC here, and we are here for another Manchester City transfer update. We must be getting near January. Before we crack on with this video though, make sure, like always, if you're interested in enjoying the content, make sure you subscribe, press that red button, press the bell and put your push notifications on. Daily transfer updates coming out throughout all of the January transfer window. Stay tuned for that. Make sure you subscribe with that bell press for your push notifications to be on, to be notified immediately when things are happening with Man City transfer news. You can go check out my social media links too, my Twitter and Instagram in description below and popping up on screen if you want to go and follow me on there and stay up to date with everything happening with Manchester City news and transfer news ASAP. It is worthwhile. Go and follow me on there, so go and check me out if you so wish. Leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and make sure also you leave your thoughts in the comments below. So we're going to crack on with this transfer update. Now, it was being reported that rumours from the Manchester City end were saying that no new centre-back will be signed this January. I was presuming that we're having a little bit of a sticky problem at this moment in time with non-homegrown players. We're full. We have to sell players. City have got a kind of depleted squad with injuries adding up, so it's well within City's best interest, you would think, not to sell anyone in January. I could be wrong, but I highly doubt we'll be selling anyone in January, and if we do, it'll more than likely come in the form of Leroy Sane. Now, the problem we've got with Leroy Sane is I've heard rumours on the grapevine saying that if Leroy Sane is sold, he won't be replaced in January, but it will open up possibly a non-homegrown player to come in January for a centre-back. But it is being reported at this moment in time that the rumours are no new centre-back from City. This was reported a few weeks back though, and things may have changed. Obviously, with City going 9 points behind Liverpool at the top of the table, this might tempt City back into the transfer market, thinking, you know, we might need to bring players in. The problem we have though with bringing players in January is if you wanted to bring a top class player in, not only going to be expensive, but they're more than likely going to be a Champions League player, which means they're more than likely going to be cup tied too. So it makes things very difficult from City's end. Also, City are looking, if they're possibly looking at selling Leroy Sane now, we're facing the fact that we could well have got maybe 100 to 130 million pounds, somewhere there or thereabouts in the summer, had we decided to sell to Bayern Munich. We never. Leroy Sane picked up the injury, so we don't know what would have happened. I honestly don't know. So, with his contract running down and having only 18 months left on his contract, the price surely isn't going to be as high as £130 million. Now, City can still demand £130 million. Bayern Munich probably, if they're confident Leroy Sane won't be signing a contract, will just wait, honestly, because that price will come down. So if City were going to sell, I would think it's not going to be for £130 million. We have coped quite well without Leroy Sane, so we've not really missed his absence too much, but I feel like over the next few weeks or so, it's really going to tell not having Leroy Sane there and having some fresh legs. So if we do decide to sell Leroy Sane, I'd be very surprised if we didn't bring somebody else in. And if we wanted to bring in an English player, it's going to be very expensive. And the fact is, if we want to bring in a homegrown player or an English player in at centre-back, more than likely this is that the quality just isn't there. So they're not really that good enough. So it's a sticky situation. What do we do? It's going to be an interesting January. Is it going to be something to find a resolve? I'm hoping so. I remember just a couple of Januaries ago that City were getting linked with Riyad Mahrez right late in the window, and they very nearly signed him. They did. And so, and we weren't linked with any wingers, and they said that if we missed out on Sanchez, we weren't going to bring anyone else in, which turned out not to be true. Things change in the transfer window and things change very quickly. Rumours fly around here, there and everywhere. It's all fun and games. Trying to decide though, from my point of view, whether it's fact or fiction, it's extremely difficult, but I do enjoy picking it out and doing the videos for you. So yeah, like I said, we'll have daily transfer updates again. So stay tuned for that. So, right into the ins with City in this video. We've been getting linked with a player, a Nigerian under-17 player actually, called Akinkunmi Amoo. I hope I'm saying his name right. I'm probably not. I apologise for that. But he's apparently a target for Manchester City. He's a midfielder, Nigerian under-17 player. Don't know too much about him. Arsenal and Watford apparently interested too. Udinese, Juventus, Paris Saint-Germain and Ajax are also interested too. So there's an abundance of interest there. So obviously a highly rated player. Are City going to go for him or not? Going to be very interesting, but he's just one of several young players, and I say several, I mean like tens of hundreds of players that we do get linked with. Could he be one? I do not know. We'll watch this space. Another player City's been getting linked with, coming from Juventus, is Rodrigo Bentancur. Is that Bentancur, is that how you say his name? No idea. I'm terrible at this, aren't I, really? But he's been linked with Manchester City from Juventus, that's according to Italian press. Apparently Barcelona are interested too, available for just £35 million. Midfielder, to me, I don't see this being true. We're short in non-homegrown players, and so I don't see us, unless we're selling Leroy Sane and bringing in a winger or a centre-back, any other position, I just simply do not see it being true. So that, to me, probably Juventus' way of trying to get more money from another club, potentially Barcelona, potentially other clubs. Just saying that Man City, Barcelona and these clubs are interested drives up the price, and that's the game of the transfers that's been happening for years, basically. It's a bit frustrating. Another player City's been getting linked with, and this is an interesting one, is Ousmane Dembele of Barcelona. That's according to sources in Spain. He's available apparently for £86 million and will be a decent replacement for Leroy Sane, who, for me, could be sold for a similar amount of price. I reckon City could probably make a profit in selling Leroy Sane and bringing in Dembele. The problem we've got with Dembele is, though, he's a really good player, and he's really quick and agile, and he's got a good left foot. I think he's left-footed anyway. He's a really good player. He's very similar to Leroy Sane, in my opinion, but he's injury-prone, and so like for like, it's decent, but are we going to see too much of him? I mean, I'm sick of City signing injury-prone players. He'd fit right in, of course, being injury-prone, but it's getting to a point where we need fully fit players that are capable of doing 30 to 40, 45 games per season, and hopefully City's learnt the lesson in the transfer market of bringing in players that have got a good injury track record rather than a bad one, like players like Benjamin Mendy, which rumours were floating around. Apparently City didn't do their full homework into Benjamin Mendy's personality and injury record, which I find really strange if that is true, considering we spent so much money on him, but yeah, there we go. Another player that we've been getting linked with, another winger. It comes in the form of, was linked with this player, by the way, in the summer. Real Sociedad winger Mikel Oyarzabel, 22 years old. To me, I just don't see this being true, because he just doesn't look like the type of player that would suit the Premier League. Technical wise, he's an okay player. I mean, he's a good player. He is not an improvement, in my opinion anyway, on Leroy Sane. And so to sell Leroy Sane and bring someone else in who isn't as good is a downgrade. That is not what we should be aiming for in the transfer market. We're trying to compete on all four fronts: League Cup, FA Cup, Premier League, Champions League, and selling players and bringing in players that aren't as good isn't the way to do that. That's not how City have done their transfer business, and I'm not too sure why we keep getting linked with this player, if I'm completely honest. It baffles me. And speaking of baffling, we continue to get linked with Jonny Evans. Yes, he's a homegrown player, and that's according to Sky Sports, but Leicester City rate him. They're doing really well, so they're going to want a bigger fee for him, and he isn't a player that, in my opinion, will improve Manchester City. So why would we bring him in? Literally, it's just like bringing in players to fill in the numbers, but we've got good quality young players that, if we want to fill in the numbers, can easily do that job. So it baffles me, it really does. Another player that we've been getting linked with is the Turkish player, centre-back, that's been playing for Leicester City too, who would be previously been linked with too. Caglar, Soyuncu, is that how you say his name? But to me, I think he's 22 years old, young player, just coming to the Premier League and fitting right in. That it's gotten to a point where Leicester City don't need money, they don't need to sell, so if they're going to sell, he's going to be a very expensive transfer, so I just don't see that happening, and Leicester will only sell if they're happy that they're ripping off the club. Just look at Harry Maguire. If things had gone right and there was no interest, I'm confident City could have picked up Maguire for between 60 and 70 million. In the end, he ended up going for, what was it, like 80 to 90 million pound or whatever it was. Leicester got an extra like 20-25 million pounds. Man United were just completely ripped off in that transfer because they were willing to pay it, and that's just not how City do their transfers. So yeah, like I said, trying to weed through fact and fiction, it's difficult because you get some very reliable sources giving you information which comes across as more fiction than fact. Just how it is. Another player that's been getting linked with City, and I've seen people leaving this in the comments, is Kalidou Koulibaly of Napoli. He's been getting linked with Manchester City and some Italian source who, I'll be honest, they're not the most reliable of sources, any Italian source. They're very contradicting, they're very make-believe. Koulibaly, they're reporting available for £69 million. Now, if he was available for £69 million, I suggest City go and send that £69 million in as soon as possible and go and bring him in immediately. But City don't like dealing with Napoli. We've seen this before with Jorginho. I just don't see it being true. Napoli, apparently they're desperate for money, but they're going to want to, if they're going to sell their best players, their key assets, they're going to want to drive up as much interest as possible, start the price low, like they have £69 million, and drive that right up. They'll, trust me, they'll be wanting north of £100 million. City just will not pay that. So yeah, like I said, weeding between fact and fiction, very difficult. But for me, more fiction than fact. Now in the outs, Bayern Munich, they're continuing to get linked with Leroy Sane, but they've been getting linked with another City player too, Gabriel Jesus. Apparently Manchester City aren't prepared to sell. This is according to The Sun, and City apparently thinking of slapping in a £100 million price tag. Like I said, fact and fiction, but I would just like to know your thoughts on this in the comments below, that if City were to sell Gabriel Jesus, what would you value him at? Because I'm very interested in what you'd value him at. To me, I think £100 million sounds about right. Young, good quality player, Brazil international, a valued player in Manchester City's squad. You know, good quality players like this, when we're not in a position where we need to sell, surely has to be an expensive transfer. Now, another player that's been leaving Manchester City is Raheem Sterling. This is a crazy one. Sky Sports were reporting that Real Madrid wanted to go in for Raheem Sterling once again, and were thinking about offering £70 million, catch this, plus Gareth Bale. So basically, £75 million, because Gareth Bale's just like the most injury prone player out there, and to replace Raheem Sterling with Gareth Bale, come on, just right on the brink of glory, of just breaking all the shackles off and becoming into his own and becoming one of the best players and best wingers out there in the world. Why would think of selling him for £70 million plus Gareth Bale, who's now, how old is Gareth Bale? He's like 29, 30. It blows my mind. Like I said, reliable sources, Sky Sports, fact and fiction, giving out fiction. £70 million, I wouldn't even accept £200 million for Raheem Sterling, plus Gareth Bale, who, I'll be honest, because he's so injury prone, I don't rate that much. It's just crazy, crazy transfer talk. But we're going to end this video on some very happy, very smiley news. In terms of contract news, Team Talk, they were reporting that Manchester City want to put Tommy Doyle, who recently made his debut for Manchester City, the League Cup, the Carabao Cup, recently made his debut for Manchester City anyway, and they want to put him on a new long-term deal. His current deal runs until 2021, and after making his senior appearance, City now want him on a long-term deal, which, to be honest, that is fantastic news, if it's true, which, that sounds true. You know, you see where I'm going with this? Looking at stories and thinking, or is this true? That's something you can believe to be true, and that is something City will be looking at. Tying down their good quality young players, their future players, players that have been at City's academy for years and years, players like Tommy Doyle, who live and breed blue, tying them onto long-term deals. That's exactly the type of thing we want to see, and like I said, makes me very, very happy in hearing that. So there we go, that has been the video. I promised, I said I'd do a transfer update, so there is the transfer update. Any more transfer news, I'm sure I'll be able to put out another video soon. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Like I said, daily transfer updates, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Make sure you subscribe, press that red button, press the bell, and put your push notifications on. Don't forget also social media links, Twitter and Instagram, in description below and popping up on screen. Leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Like I said, leave your thoughts in the comments below. Always interested in what you have to say. What do you make of the ins? What are you valuing Gabriel Jesus at? Love to know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you all again for the next video. So it's been JSGC. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace. Ciao for now.